Alright, y'all, I wanted to share this particular video because this is quite a find. I had heard things about it before. I had heard about, in sort of esoteric Columbine discussions, I'd heard about death education as having been a thing that was at some point part of the curriculum at Columbine High School. Now, just to put all my cards on the table here, I've never deviated much from the official story on Columbine. And I even wrote a novel based on the official story, based on somebody's interpretation of the official story. It's entitled The Columbine Pilgrim. So I've got some awareness of, of a Columbine conspiracy, and my interest in that was reawakened the other day when I happened to see a video where certain things were discussed, and one of the things mentioned was death education. So there was a reference made to some news broadcast from 1990, even though the date says 99, I think that's just when this was posted. Although this has just recently been reposted, and I'll provide the link to it for y'all if you want to just watch it all the way through. But this is a whole presentation from way back in 1990 about this thing called death education, and it's pretty weird. It's pretty creepy. Let's just watch a little bit of it here.
To a funeral home. Visit a mortuary where cadavers are laid out for embalming. It can happen. Welcome to the startling, the shocking death education.
Loosely defined, death education is supposed to prepare young people for coping with death.
All right, so the volume's a little low. I just turned off the fan. So just moving on with, I wanted to show a couple things before we cover the part that interests me the most. But again,
a rather unorthodox field trip.
Death education.
The embalming room at the Rapp Funeral Home.
Ladies and gentlemen, today our teacher will be a dead person. Our teacher will tell us something about death. Our death, everybody's death. His name was Stanley.
God.
Stanley died relatively young.
Bill Went, a priest at Maryland's St. Francis Center, is paid to conduct this tour for about 400 students a year.
This is Stanley. We're not going to show his face. He's given his skin.
His students.
He's given bone. He's given bone marrow. God. He's given eyes. He's helped a lot of people.
This group's teacher, Phil Campbell, hopes that the stark, shocking reality of death will convince them of the importance of life. Some of the students are repulsed by the experience.
Oh, God.
This skin is real important.
Although 1 out of every 10 of our public schools include death education, its emotional impact on students is still unknown. Funeral director Richard Rapp takes a matter-of-fact approach.
When death is sudden and they want to find out exactly why the death occurred, you're given an autopsy. So he's got some incisions here that are not part of what he gave to help somebody else.
Okay. My gosh. This is like a Second City TV sketch, except it's real. But oh my word. Now this was in 1990. Okay. So things have been crazy. Things seem crazy now, and they are crazy now, but things have been crazy for a long time. In fact, I just barely missed out on this, I guess. I never had any death education classes in my high school. But these poor kids, my God. I'm laughing just because I have to. I mean, just the unnecessary trauma of being dragged to the morgue and forced to look at a dead body, and that creepy man who was talking about, this is Stanley, he'll teach you something about death. I mean, this is real. Death education. All right, let me skip ahead a little bit more.
Flying around there, and that sort of bothered me. But then I pictured him sort of swatting at it, But I thought he'd wake up, and it sort of hurt me to see him not wake up. If I want to die, I like this one.
Then the children are encouraged to feel the plush, soft, final resting place inside the coffins.
They're okay. These are smaller kids. Hell, these are like elementary school kids. They're being taken to look at these coffins and feel the insides of these coffins and talk. I mean, this is so nuts. This is so nuts. This was a thing. Death education. Oh my word. Skipping ahead a little bit.
It's kind of a therapy. And I found that children who have a very good outlook, a very positive outlook on life, will put many, many years on that tombstone. They won't put down they died in 2 years or 4 years. They usually put down they're going to live to like 80, 90, 100 years old.
They're making the kids make their own tombstones. God. This is right up there with the insanity that you hear about today. I mean, this is totally out there. And notice how he said, well, most of the kids make a long timeline for themselves, but didn't we just see? Let me just go back.
Undertaker is.
So the teacher's saying, well, they have a positive outlook. They're going to put a lot of years on their life, in their tombstone. So this student decides that she's going to live to be 30. She's going to live till 2020. No comment on the 2020 thing. That's a little too easy. That's low-hanging fruit. My God. Taking kids into a morgue on a field trip, making them look at a dead body, making them touch a dead body, having little kids, feel the insides of coffins and then talk about their own deaths. This is so. But anyway, let me skip ahead to the part here that anyway. Let's see what's going on here.
Favorite swimming hole or a fishing spot? What a nice place to put them. So the options are yours. They don't see the real stark nature of death.
Okay. They're showing these kids the ashes of a dead person after he's been cremated. Look at these kids. Oh, they don't want to be there. This is reminding me of, when they made me go to a sex ed class in like 4th grade. And, they were talking very explicitly about these things. And I was like, kill me. I don't want to be here. I don't want to hear about this stuff. But this is worse. This is worse. Now, sex is something you have to learn about. Death is something you have to learn about. And believe me, you will. But should it be part of the school curriculum? So now let me skip ahead to the money shot, if you will. Before we get to the money shot, this is also interesting. I want to show this part.
First emerged in the late 60s. Psychologist William Colson was one of the early innovators of psychotherapeutic techniques, but he now opposes the methods he once advocated.
Aren't kids seeing more of death younger these days on television and with crack and violence in the streets? Isn't there a need to educate them younger about death?
It sounds like one of those things, Tom, that would be a good idea, except empirically it's just not working out that way. See, these interventions aren't powerful enough. They're not therapeutic enough, if you will, to keep the troubled kids out of trouble, but they are powerful enough to draw the untroubled kids into becoming trouble.
So the psychologist who first came up with this whole nutsy idea here he gets this whiff of reality and realizes this is just going to traumatize the kids who don't need to be traumatized, and it's not going to help the kids who are already traumatized, you know. So kudos to him, and also kudos to the, like, this is also interesting to watch as a news program, just because you can see that in 1990 they were trying to be balanced and objective in ways that they definitely are not in the news media today. But anyway, here's the part involving Columbine, and I don't know what to make of all this, but let's watch it.
I didn't see any reason to keep going. If I didn't have any friends, I didn't have anything to live for, I basically just stopped caring.
Tara Becca believes she was seduced into a suicide attempt by her death ed class. 6 years ago, Tara was a junior at Columbine High in Littleton, Colorado. Her English literature teacher began weaving her own beliefs on reincarnation into the classroom discussions of death.
Okay, so this is 1990. Again, just a reminder, 9 years before the shooting. And so Columbine High School doesn't have any real cultural significance. It's just another school, just the name of some school out in Colorado. But this girl is talking about her experience with death education class that she took at Columbine High School a few years prior to 1990. So this has been around for a while. I mean, I say it's been around for a while. I don't know if it's still around today. It probably is, knowing the way things are, knowing the course of things. Like, all kinds of craziness is just only ramified and gotten worse. But anyway, moving on.
This is what this teacher is teaching. When you die, you get all the knowledge that God has, and then you're recreated. You come back again in another life form, and you have all the knowledge that God knows. And for a person like me that definitely loved to learn, that was exciting. You know, wow, I get to learn everything God knows.
Was death taught to you here as being something terrible, something to dread?
Oh, no. No, it was exciting. It was something to look forward to. It was definitely very appealing. It was an escape.
Tara finally decided she wanted to escape and saw death as the only solution to her typical teenage problems. She recreated her actions of that night for us, just as she had carefully planned her own suicide.
We talked about what we wanted to look like in our casket.
In the class, that's what they talked about.
That night I went and I had my hair fixed up and I had my nails done.
Then she searched the nearby Rockies for a suitable cliff to drive over. She sat in her car for hours contemplating the life or death decision.
I wanted freedom from my body, and this was the only way I could get free from myself. I would no longer be in bondage, and this is what the teacher and everybody in the class was talking about. So I decided that I was going to make everything look like an accident.
After carefully planning her own suicide, Tara drove home for one last visit.
I came home late that night after thinking it all over.
So crazy.
My dad met me at the front door, and they could see that I was definitely not with it. I was saying things like, "It's not really me." And my mom and dad knew that there was something desperately wrong, so they took me to the hospital and put me in a psychological area of counseling so that I could get some help.
Okay, so so to summarize, this girl took death education class, and it made her, and her teacher was saying, well, when you die, it's a wonderful thing. You learn everything that God knows, and so that's really something to look forward to. And so she decided she wanted to die. And she almost did. She had it all planned out, and she talked again, in case you missed it. They talked about what they wanted to look like lying in their caskets, and so she made herself up, to look all pretty, and then drove back home one more time to let her parents know what she was up to. But her parents saw that that their daughter was severely troubled and needed help, so they took her to the psychiatric ward. And this is at Columbine High School. This is a girl recounting in 1990 classes that she took at Columbine High School in death education. Now, does this prove anything about, the environment that does this mean, am I blaming the death education classes on, am I blaming them for the Columbine massacre? No, it's just something that, to see how it springs from the same milieu. And Columbine Columbine High School. This is an upscale place. This is not. This is where they would get the most advanced, the quote unquote advanced kind of stuff. This is where they would get the avant-garde kind of stuff, like quote unquote death education. It's just wild to me that this was ever a thing, and I don't know. Maybe it's still a thing. Again, I'm open to. Fair is foul and foul is fair. That's from quoting Macbeth. That's the age in which we're living in. It's an age of inversion. They don't teach you about how to read and how to do math and and the geography of the world, or maybe they do teach you about that, but then on top of that, they teach you death education. So it's just pretty interesting to me that this story came out of Columbine High School. This again ran on ABC on the show 2020 news program 9 years before the Columbine massacre, and this is a girl talking about her experiences at Columbine High School. Let's see a little bit more.
Tara's English teacher is no longer at Columbine High. The school has refused to comment on the case, other than to say the course had nothing to do with Tara's problems.
You were, as a teenager, confused, you were depressed, you felt lonely. Without this class, might you not have been a candidate for suicide?
I had thought about it as a possible option for a lot of years, but I never would have gone through with it. Never, because I wasn't brave enough. The things that we learned in the class taught us how to be brave enough to face death.
What makes us
crazy? Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to show you all this because it's pretty wild, it's pretty crazy, it's pretty nutty, it's pretty out there. And what does it tell us? I don't know. And I don't know if this goes any. I don't know if this helps to demonstrate, those who believe in that the official story about Columbine wasn't true, that there weren't just two kids involved and so forth and so on, or this doesn't really touch on that, but it's just very, very interesting that this that the same school was having death education. What comes over educators? What makes them think this is a good idea? I am just, flummoxed. Anyway, let me know your thoughts below. Thanks for watching.